Hello everybody and welcome back to Out of Body. In today's video we're going to be talking about a haunted road here in Memphis. Now that road is known as the Callis Cutoff. Now the name Callis actually comes from the name of a person who owned a plantation out there, and so it was named after Cassius Marcellus Callis. I had to say that slow. Got my tongue twister. Now if you're local to Memphis, you might be aware, or if you're not aware, the road is located or was located in the Germantown area near Winchester Road. And it's a very, very narrow road and has like trees overgrown and kind of woods around it. From what I could find, it seems that a lot of the land has been developed in recent years, so I think the road is maybe non-existent anymore, or part of it's non-existent. I haven't been out there myself, so I don't really know. I'm just going by what I've found online. But nevertheless, at one point in time, it was very, very overgrown with trees and plants. The road was kind of torn up, and it was very narrow and just kind of creepy, even during the day, but especially at night. So the Callis Cutoff is kind of the source of an urban legend, and there's many variations to the story of this urban legend, but the story basically goes that there once was this house that stood on its own. It didn't really have any other houses around it, and it was there for many, many years. And I'll go into the different variations of the story, but in a nutshell, there was a family that lived there, and somehow the children got killed, or one of the children got killed, or something to that effect. And the mother of the household would leave the porch light on every single night in hopes that her child or children would find their way back home. So one of the stories goes that the children who lived there one day went missing, and that supposedly this was due to them being sacrificed by Satanists in some sort of ritual. Again, allegedly. This is just one of the variations of the story that's been told. Now, the other version of the story says that there was actually a teenager that lived there but died in a car accident on that road. And this story also speaks of a mother who would leave the porch light on every single night in hopes that maybe her spirit would find her way back home somehow. So many other stories began to kind of circulate around this area, actually dating back to the 1920s and continued on into the 60s and even up to the 90s. Just different stories and different things that supposedly happened there. Now, I'm not saying that any of these things for sure happened there because I don't really know. Back in the 1920s, it was supposed that there were some mobsters that would take people out there, since it was in a secluded area, and kill them out there. And then in the 1960s, people started to circulate these stories about witchcraft and devil worshippers and all kind of weird rituals and like human sacrifice and animal sacrifice happening out there. And those stories continue to circulate up into the 90s. So because of these stories, it's kind of over time become this place where typically teenagers will dare each other to go out there at night, to go out there by themselves, just various things. Now, starting in the 90s, people started to say some unusual things really do go on out there, and not necessarily in the physical sort of realm, but maybe some unexplained paranormal things go on out there. Now, they say that most of the activity is at the halfway point, or at the widest curve of the road. Now, at that point in the road, there's a lot of graffiti. Some of it's even done in glow-in-the-dark paint. Allegedly, there's some disturbing symbols, and some have even said that they have seen these black trash bags out there full of animal carcasses and surrounded by swarms of rats. Yeah, gross. And on another occasion, someone claims to have seen an unexploded pipe bomb off the side of the road, and it was wrapped in electrical tape. So some of the things that people have experienced there include seeing these figures that look human, but they're wearing cloaks and they have like white paint on their faces. Other people who have been walking around in the woods, or if they're driving and they have their windows down, they will claim to hear whispers in the woods or see like lights kind of flashing, like as if people have flashlights, which that seems kind of common to me. I mean, there might just be other people out there with flashlights, but or it could be orbs or something paranormal like that. Now, other people have had a little bit scarier experience as far as other vehicles that are out there. Some people have gone out there and they've spotted a vehicle that has its lights turned off, which I think that's one of the legends that people talk about, is kind of a dare is to go out there, go to like the darkest part of the road and then turn all your lights off. But some people that have driven out there, when they find another vehicle that has its lights off, they'll drive past it and all of a sudden the vehicle will speed up and try to run them off the road. Try to flat out have a collision with them, and so the other car will end up running off the road to avoid it, which is really creepy. It's almost like people are trying to drive other people away from that road, try to scare them away. Now I kind of had to research a little bit in these old forums, and so I found a forum that was talking about haunted places in Memphis, and these people were talking specifically about the Callis cutoff and kind of things they experienced. One person in particular put like a whole big like list of information, so rather than try and summarize it all, I'm just gonna link it, and I'm gonna say on here that I did take it from that website and I'm reading it verbatim. So at one part he says the Callis cutoff itself is the site of a number of grisly murders. One in particular was a man who lived nearby. He was outside his home when a small gang of people took him from his property and beat him to death. And then after they killed him, they decapitated his body, and supposedly they never found his head. And then, okay, so this is like another variation of that same story I told before. It says the boy's mother still lives in the house. Every night she leaves the back porch light on in hopes that one night he will return. There was a party in the woods. A rival gang came to the party. It got very out of hand and one woman was killed. Another woman got into a car wreck while leaving the cutoff. So next he kind of goes into what him and his friend experienced when they went to visit the road. So he says, on arrival, I felt a strong presence at the site. Byron and I walked around the cutoff for a while. We were alone because we had not met up with the others yet. So I guess he went with a group of friends. It was actually pretty frightening because of the magnitude of energy I felt. As we started back down the road, Byron and I happened to look up at the trees. What I saw will stay in my memory for a long time. I saw a human figure, bluish, misty in color, see-through, in one of the trees to the left. It then jumped to one of the trees to the right. I was so startled that I didn't say anything right away. Then Byron said, "Oh my God, did you see that in that tree?" I couldn't believe it. We actually saw something at the same time. What we saw was different though. It was at the same time but different forms for some reason. He saw a pair of eyes glowing yellow staring at us. The rest of the crew arrived. I felt all the energy drain as if it was scared away at the number of people here. I had everyone separate into different areas, not within shouting distance. All that was in the main cutoff now was me and Heather. We walked the same route me and Byron walked previously. The energy was back. It felt just as strong, if not stronger. We walked back under the trees that we saw the figure before. Didn't see anything this time, but we kept walking. Something caught my eye. At the part of the cutoff where most of the parties took place, there was a tree, completely rotted away. It was a big tree, but it was the only tree in the whole forest that was dead. It puzzled me. Maybe something so traumatic took place there that it imprinted itself on that area and killed the tree. Just my theory, but it was odd. We walked a little further down the road. As we walked, I heard something like footsteps following us. I turned around and shined the flashlight on the road. Nothing. I turned back around and turned the flashlight off again. I looked back without turning on the flashlight. Now, this I will never forget. Out of the woods, I saw a big mass of bluish colored see-through ectoplasm, which I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to have to look that up. The shape can best be described as two people carrying a third person between them, leaning over. At first I thought it was my eyes playing tricks on me. I restudied my eyes and looked again. It was still moving across the road at a walking pace. It suddenly disappeared. My words that he said, I assume, I will not repeat in this account of the investigation, but you can imagine I was stunned. I looked back around. I saw Byron and Adam coming down the road in the truck. I retold the story. They said my face was white, my arm hair complete with goosebumps. Heather soon after went home. The fright was too much for her. We then left for Fort Germantown. So wow, that is pretty interesting. I'm glad I read that on here. So yeah, I mean, I'll try to link as much information as I can down below as well. And if any of you locals, I know there's a few local people now who follow my channel, so if you know anything about this, I'm up for being corrected. Like comment down below. I'd love to hear more information. Like I said, you know, I try to do the best research that I can online and with people that I know around here, but kind of limited, you know, on my resources. So if you know anything about this, if you want to tell your experiences or experiences of other people that you know, please comment down below. I'd love to hear about it. And I appreciate you guys watching this video. But other than that, that's it for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next one tomorrow. Bye.